throw money at the show as a thank you, but it's not a requirement. I'm not making it a mandatory observation that says, oh, hey, buy into my membership and then I'll tell you how to put money in your pocket. Nah, fuck that. I'll put money in your pocket. And if you appreciate me for putting money in your pocket, you put money in my pocket because I put money in your pocket because I'm going to keep putting money in your pocket. That's what I do. And that's why we're talking about what we're talking about today. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe when y'all come through the show. Like us on Facebook, like us on, well, not Facebook, like us on Twitter and Twitch, and then like us on the show here on YouTube. We're live 7 nights a week, and we don't let the sun rise without going live. So if in the event that you want to jump up onto the show, you can click the links in the comment section. Approve the mic, approve the camera brings you on in real time, or you can enjoy the comment section like Steven, who is messaging us from Twitter X, or some of the other people that message us from Twitch. Likewise with Bayside and the other saints that come through from YouTube. Steven's like, nah, you telling us to subscribe too much. Too much work. Hey, well, look. Hey, if you subscribe to it, it's easier to find. Because one thing I've noticed, especially if you're watching the app from your cell phone or from YouTube, there is a subscriber section which has a list of the people that you subscribe. Most people don't subscribe to every fucking thing they watch. They might like a lot of the videos that they see, but they don't subscribe to every platform that has a decent video. So the average person who's not spamming videos typically has a very small watch list. Now, in that watch list, the platforms that go live are at the top of the list. If you're looking for investment opportunities, and I'm giving them to you just about every day of the week or every other day of the week, and I'm in your subscriber list, that's like putting me in your favorites list. And as soon as I go live, there's a red circle around my profile. You're like, oh shit, a money-making opportunity. Let me get over there. You know what I'm saying? And you get the push notifications and all that so that you don't miss me, because some people forget. But you don't have to, it's up to you. It don't bother me if you don't subscribe, because I made the trades before I started the show. So when I told you, I already did it. So it's like, you either do it with me or you don't. There's no take backsies. You can't terminate the sell. Once you hit that submit button, that's it. You got to wait for the transaction to resolve itself. So I didn't already made the trade before I tell y'all about making the trade, which is a lot different than some of the other people are like, oh yeah, blah, 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 do this, do that, do the other. And then, oh, nice. He said, late night Steve Harvey. Yeah, I guess I can see myself. I look better than Steve Harvey though. But at least I look like a celebrity to you. So I appreciate that part. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we talk about ways for you guys to have financial success. And then after that, we tiptoe over to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we tell you about personal success. And some of the times we throw in some money-making opportunities along the way as well. Sunday is our members only shows where we do questions and comments like we did yesterday. And with that, I want you guys to go ahead and get ready, because we're gonna dive into what has happened recently. And I want you guys to check this out, because Washington has been celebrating the new tariff deal that they had with China, right? But it doesn't actually feel like a win for your families, because it already happened and we have not experienced. Oh, bro, I got a lot of trolls over here. I got a lot of trolls over here. I don't put up a lot of the comments that come up that are not appropriate, and I don't put up a lot of the comments that are disrespectful in its own right. So what happens is, like Kitten Rare, making inappropriate comments. I'm looking at that like, you're on a borderline, buddy, and anything more inappropriate than that, and I'm gonna have to shut that account down. So I get trolls, but some trolls come in being disrespectful, and then when they hang out here long enough trying to troll my podcast, and they're like, oh shit, this dude's got stuff that I can benefit from, then they go from being trolls to, being beneficiaries of a mass quantity of knowledge that's being provided on a daily basis. So I don't assign mods to my platform to boot people off when they're trolling the platform. Instead, I just let them hang out as long as their comments aren't too inappropriate. And if they hang out long enough, they might come around. Is it just block them? Well, see, okay, so they're only going to ruin my day is if I let them impact me. So if they say something disrespectful like Kit and Rare did, and I take offense to it, and I derail my conversation, start cursing this guy out and changing your observation of me because I devalued and degraded myself by trying to devalue and degrade a no photo profile, understanding that the more active my account gets traction, the more trolls I'm going to come across. And these trolls have like 15, 20 different accounts. So all it takes is for them to recognize what the name of my account is. And then all of a sudden they're going to just flood back in with all kinds of other stuff. What I started doing is a lot of the inappropriate comments that they make on the channel, I put, oh, he made a racial comment. So, but the thing is that what I do is any of the keywords that are inappropriate in nature, I just block the words. And by blocking the words that they would have used to try to insult me, what happens is that they end up not getting their comment. The whole statement doesn't show up on the feed, and it frustrates them because they can't get their heckling across. And that makes them just go away, or they're going to stay and participate positively. So one way or another. But if they put too many things up there that I don't like looking at, then they get got. So here, another one. He says, my guy is looking like a Wall Street pimp with that suit. It's impressive that minorities are perceived as mob bosses and pimps because they put on a suit. Never a lawyer, never a doctor, never a teacher, always a pimp. Society has forgotten that the average black man since slavery days would be seen in a suit not going to court. Crazy, isn't it? They used to wear dress with class and wear sophisticated clothes before they burned down Wall Street. If you look at the Million Man March, everybody was wearing the same outfit that they would wear to church. And they walked across the state, if not across the country, doing a Million Man March with button-down shirts, blazers, vests, slacks, dress shoes, getting their ass whooped by folks with cutoffs and you know what I'm saying? So when they say that you look like a pimp, it's like you couldn't. That's why I took the Steve Harvey compliment, because I'm like, it's better. Because at least Steve Harvey's a black man in a suit. I prefer to be compared to Steve Harvey than compared to a pimp. You didn't hit me with a pimp named Slickback. I'm trying to tell you. What's going on, Bayside? It's good to see you again, my brother. Throw this out here for Bayside real. Going to our statistics as it relates to the stock market, because I'm going to be giving you guys a lot of information. But the other thing is that it's only supposed to happen for about 90 days while they're not selling. Steven said, what's up, Bayside? While it's not selling TikTok. So while they're still negotiating TikTok, and the TikTok thing has been pushed to September 19th, I do believe. So right around the time that Donald Trump's cell phone is going to be debuted, TikTok is supposed to be up for renegotiation. Even though they lifted tariffs, we're still in a depression, and I'm about to explain to you why that is. So we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today. And since I don't have any clients after the show, it don't matter how long it takes. I'm going to get through all of it. There's a lot here. Nah, there isn't. It's not nearly as much as yesterday's show. And we've got so here we go, multi-platform conversation. So Bayside said, what's up to Steven? There you go. Okay. And bam, there goes Kitten Rare. So I said he was going to keep doing it and he was going to get got. Now, you guys seen the headlines a while back, and it was about a big breakthrough. So you hear the words tariff reduction and you figure, great, prices might finally start coming down. Yeah, bro, I hit him. he put one more comment in there. I said, if it gets worse, and then I just slid him. But yeah, you guys talking back and forth on the channel. That's what this is about. So I got Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. So I can have all three of y'all platforms communicating with one another, and everybody's appropriate comment will be seen up here at the top. And you just see either the YouTube logo or the like that's the YouTube logo right there, or the what is that, Twitter logo right there, and then the Twitch logo is up there somewhere whenever somebody jumps in from Twitch if they got something to say. There's a lot of y'all came here from Twitter. It's probably because y'all don't like Trump and I'm about to talk shit. So Elon Musk all the way, y'all about to be like, yeah, follow the channel because I talk shit all the time. But I'm giving you facts, details, and information that helps you with your investment opportunities. So if you guys haven't noticed, the reduction of the trades did not help you at all. Recognizing that your grocery bill is still high, the stock market is on a roller coaster in a negative fashion, and the cost of borrowing money is through the roof. He said, yeah, there are a lot of there are a lot on X. Watch out, Elon gonna be watching. Elon followed me on Flip, and I was like, what? But that's because I was posting some stuff from here on Flip, and I might have mentioned his name once or twice. So I'm like, it wasn't nothing negative though, because I was talking about his overpriced truck in comparison to the debut and the underperformance of the flagship model, because everything it was supposed to do is not doing, and then they're dealing with factory defects, because that's what happens when you release a product is the first shipment sucks. It's normal across every industry, not just Elon, every industry. There are things that aren't supposed to happen, and that's why every manufacturer has a recall on so many models. So well, I tried to give them a chance, Bayside, because some people come with the show heckling from day one, and then when they realize that they could benefit from it, they actually keep coming back and learning something and become a positive influence. So I try to give them a chance, but once it looks like they're not trying to change, and I'm like, you know what, bump it, because they're missing out. Because I just gave everybody who was here yesterday, I told everybody yesterday about the trade that should have happened this morning, because on the 2nd, which is 2 days from now, there's the ex-dividend date for Jenkins, I think it was, that I was telling you about, that was supposed to be doing like $1.50 or whatever per share once a year, and July 2nd is supposed to be the buy date. It's supposed to be the ex-dividend date. So technically you got one more day to buy in. Technically, if you buy in tomorrow, hold on, I'm talking to y'all about it. Let me grab it. Let me grab it real quick. Let me grab the stock, because I told you about it yesterday, and I told you guys that I was gonna remind you about it later in the week. But since y'all are here, let me go ahead and pull it up so that I can tell you about it one more time, because you can buy it now or in the morning or whatever, schedule it to be bought for tomorrow, so that you can have it before the stock market closes. So this is the one that I'm talking about. It is Jinko. So the guy who just got banned off the platform, he missing out on a financial opportunity. Jinko Solar Holding Company Limited, right? Read all of that. You can copy and paste out of the comment section. I want y'all guys to understand that if you pick this one up right now, it's around about $20 a share, and it's given $1.48 per share on the 2nd. Not doing it again for another year or so, sporadically. if you're picking up this stock, say you buy 100 shares of it, right? Put you around about $2,049, right? At around about $1.50 per share, you'd be getting over $150 for a 48-hour turnaround. Because if you buy it tomorrow and sell it on Thursday, it would have been there for all of 48 hours and you'd have made $150. Easy money. And that's what we're here for. Steve was like, I'm trying to sell some of my stock and buy new ones. Okay, so you got some stocks that are good stocks that you're going to go back and buy a second time. And what I do is I'll sell it. And after the transaction clears, I'll buy like $5 or $10 of that stock and hold it so that when I want to add more to it, all I got to do is go to my portfolio and just increase the thing, because it's easier to go into my limited list of like, 10 or 20 of them, because we're just starting out, and click on one of the ones that I'm already holding, as opposed to remembering what the name is, typing it in correctly, scrolling through, clicking, trying to make sure that's the right one, and then putting it all in there. So what I'll do is if I sell like 100% of it, I'll sell 100% of it and then buy back in with 5 or 10. Or if I like my buy-in price and I'm only going to like sell like 80% of it, then I sell like 80% of it, but I still maintain a portion of it so that I always have access to it, keeping track of it to see when it fluctuates. And then when it dips the way I want it to dip, I buy back in. So that's what I like to do. And then I started with the top 20 highest paying cash dividend stocks with the lowest buy-in rate. And that gives us something to start with, which then will allow us to, double our money over time. So instead of getting 15, 20% over the year, we're at least operating well above 75%, which is extremely high in comparison to any type of environment. The only thing that is trading better than that is Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is highly volatile, and you're more successful with trade bots doing Bitcoin than you are with doing a monthly trade. We're trading daily, but we're buying it one time, selling it one time, and buying something else and then selling that one time. And that's all we're doing. And we're not even doing it every day. It's only like 4 or 5 times a month. Could you imagine if this was your job, that 4 or 5 times a month, once a week, you're paying it once or twice a week, you're paying attention to the stocks that you're going to rotate into and the stocks that you're going to rotate out of. And then you just move the money around, and you spent more time filling out your unemployment application than you would have moving the stocks around, and you would have made shit ton more money and could potentially do that anywhere around the world as long as you have internet access. So when I told y'all, I'm like, look, we could set ourselves up, but we could retire. We can retire and still continue to increase our wealth without having to try or beg or do anything illegal. And I'm like, bro, that's the lick right there. Because most of the time folks be like, oh yeah, I got this surefire way that you can do as long as you don't get caught. I'm like, fuck it, man. I'm doing something so above board, bro. I can broadcast it to millions of people on the podcast, and the IRS is going to be like, well, yeah, technically you can, as long as you send us some money at the end of the year. Steven said, bet. I'm gonna do the same. It's easy money, easy money. But see, the thing is that along with the easy money, that's one of the reasons why I'm talking about the tariffs today, is because you got to pay attention to how shit happens. Shit shows happen is what I was about to say. And when it does, it changes the way the economy fluctuates. So they had lifted the tariffs, and I'm about to talk to you about, I'm about to tell you when it happened, and you're gonna be like, damn, I didn't even notice. And it's only supposed to last for another month or so, and then it's supposed to go back to the way it was. So guess what happens? We're gonna see another change in like a month or so. So it's still not stabilizing. Since it's not stabilizing, the wealthy people are still continuing to redirect their capital every month, every quarter, into gold, silver, and other precious metals that are on a steady incline. so that when this shit does stabilize, and those that aren't going to precious metals are going to cryptocurrency. So when this shit does stabilize, they're going to redirect their funds from the highly volatile cryptocurrency to the comfortably slow stock market, or from the slow grind increase of the gold and silver and precious metals back into the highly volatile stock market. And when the millions flood back into the stock market, that's when your stock options skyrocket. So as long as you holding, when you start seeing that unexpected increase happening, and don't sell, hold it, that's when they flip shit around. So if I buy 5,000, I get 300. You talking about for the Jinko solar? More than likely, yeah. And then you sell it for 5,000. And depending on what it is, when you sell it, you might sell it for 5,000. You might buy it for 5,000, sell it for 5,100, still get the 300, and walk away with a $400 profit. Still got your 5 bands. Now, I can't do that nowhere else in life. Holding until that profit hits. No. Okay, so here's something that I told you guys about the ex-dividend rotation strategy, which is why I did a whole show about it. When you buy the stock before the ex-dividend date, if you are in possession of the stock on the ex-dividend date, you can sell it after the end of business day of the ex-dividend date, because you are on the books. So you don't have to maintain possession of the stock until the payout date. You could take your money out of that stock and go buy something else and still get paid from the stock that you was on the books for at the end of business day of the ex-dividend date. So you can buy Jinko on the 1st, sell Jinko on the 3rd, buy Global Net on the 7th or 8th, and still get paid on the 9th from Jinko. You don't got to maintain possession. That's why it's called the other term for the dividend rotation strategy is the dividend capture strategy, where you're just holding on to it for, it's a 4-day turnaround, couple days before, a day or so after, and that's it. The only reason why a lot of people don't do it is because certain stocks fluctuate so much that stocks fluctuate so much that if you buy in, some stocks dip the amount of the payout and it doesn't recover. And if it doesn't recover and you sell less than what you bought in, then you lose money on the sale, and it's offset by the dividends that you receive from the stock option, and you ultimately break even, or you lose a couple dollars on the sale. But if you buy in so low that when everybody else is buying in closer to the ex-dividend day increases the value above the dip, when you do sell, you're selling at an increase. Like I sold at a $230 increase in comparison to what my buy-in was. And it was only like 30 cents a share. That was the difference between what I bought in versus what I sold. But the fact was that I was able to make a profit off of the sale. I just have to pay attention to when the buy-in date needs to be. And I have to buy in before the ex-dividend date. But stocks like Orchid Island, for some reason, has a strategically scheduled dip on the 23rd of every month. I've seen it multiple times over the past few months. So whatever it is on the 23rd, that's the lowest it's going to be before the ex-dividend date between the 28th and the 30th, which is about a week before the ex-dividend date. So if they're going to do the dip that day, buy in that day, and everybody that buys in after that day is going to buy in above what I bought in, which means when I sell, there's going to be a difference between what I bought in and what I sold. And that's how you end up trying to buy and sell for the increase. So now with a limited quantity of stocks, you're paying attention to each stock, which is like 1 or 2 stocks a week, 4 to 6 stocks a month. So it's not that much trading. You're not sitting here like a stock market agent, a Wall Street agent, just call, trade for 8 hours a day. Literally, it took me more time to put this podcast together than it takes to trade the stocks. Like, you're literally going to buy one yesterday. Well, I sold one today. I had bought one on Friday, and I bought the AG mortgage like 2 weeks ago. And that's like 3 trades over the course of 14 days. And, almost $500. And I don't have to hold on to it. I can keep moving. And eventually I'm going to get a notification that says, hey, you just got paid. You got dividends. I'm like, oh, sweet. Now, the one thing I have not experienced, because I'm actively trading all of my capital, I have not seen the money clear to be deposited into a bank account. There is a several week delay between them releasing the money for you to reinvest versus them releasing the money for you to put it into your pocket. I told you guys on the dividend rotation strategy that what you need to do is you need to make sure that you pay, if you're living off of the profits from your stock market, you want to pay your bills a couple of months in advance. And then when you get the money off of the stock, so say you're going to trade the principal, but you're going to deposit the dividends into your bank account. The money that gets dropped into your profile for a payout, that stays there, and then everything else gets invested. When that money clears to be deposited, it's going to show as a transfer available rate. Then you transfer it to your bank account, and they transfer it out for free. Some platforms charge you, but the one that we're using, you and I are using Stash, and they transfer it out for free. So, it might be a 5 to 7 day turnaround if you don't use the money in any more trades, and then it'll be available to drop into your account, specifically because Stash is advancing you cash to allow you to make ends meet as far as making the trades while the transaction is still processing, because we are essentially, while we're using the Stash app, we're essentially doing ETF style trades on actual stocks. We're not actually owning a stock. We're owning the value of the stock through this platform. So we can make trades faster, still get the ex-dividend dates, and we don't have to deal with a lot of the rigmarole of waiting for the money to clear, waiting for the stock to, because somebody gonna buy that bitch. So they'll buy it from us so that they can sell it to somebody else, and they're gonna front us the money because they know that we good for it, and then we take the money and put it back into another trade. So they're like, oh, well, hell, they're gonna put it back into a trade anyway. Let's just hand them what they need and let them make it do what it do, because it's still gonna be tied up on the platform. Any money you're trying to get from the platform, you got to wait for it. But if you're going to put it back up, you're like, yeah, sure, I'll front you some cash. And he said, bro, you a master trader. I am not a master trader. I am the ultimate opportunist. I am calculated, strategic. I love numbers. And the fact is that if I can make it make sense, I'm going to do it. I'm one of those guys when gaming used to be about like strategy, not about bashing one another online. I was the guy that was able to calculate the damage, calculate the recovery rate, calculate the HP bar, and be able to determine based on the avatar that I have and the stats that I have, what type of attack I can do and survive. I was able to determine how many opponents I can have at one time and survive. I was able to determine how to do the most damage in the shortest period of time and survive and still be nimble. So when it comes down to crunching numbers, that's what I love to do. And people who like to crunch numbers make great stock market agents. They say, oh, well, working in stocks is for the Jews. Working in stocks is for anybody who has numbers running around in their head, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing instead of taking your ass to bed. But one of the things that is the hardest part about people with mindsets like mine that is fantastically able to be utilized for ideas, investments, startup businesses, what stops fantastic ideas is the lack of capital. So when you don't have a way to have discretionary funds to take your idea and put it into action, your idea becomes a dream, and that dream becomes a fantasy, and fantasies fade when money gets tight. So what I did was I started telling you guys, well, you know what? If you free up some cash, stop wasting it on bullshit, put the cash somewhere where you're not going to fuck with it, and then you use that cash to follow your dream. Then at the end of the day, you can make yourself a millionaire, and then you can fuck the world up because you're rich. If you're rich, you got enough money to pay for high-priced lawyers when you make them stupid-ass mistakes, as opposed to when you're broke and you can't even get a public defender to answer the phone. You can live a better life as a millionaire doing the same reckless bullshit that you're doing right now as a broke dude. But the difference is that you can have 5 lawyers, one of them at the jailhouse getting you out, and 3 of them dropping your charges before you even talk to the bailiff and get the fingerprints up. You be in the front door and out the back door, and the paparazzi never seen you come through, like Donald Trump never spent a day in jail. He said, where was bro when I needed a good teammate? I gave my gaming systems to my brother, and I let him deal with it. I was really good with it because I also did it with collectible trading cards, and there was this card game that was called Raw Deal, and we used to do it, and it was all about damage calculations and recovery rates. And I made this one deck that typically it's a 60 card deck, and a 60 card deck is only supposed to take about 60 damage. I made a 60 card deck that was able to take 200 damage, overturning cards. And they were like, how did you do that? And I'm like, crunch the numbers. I went from a rookie to a pro in a in a heartbeat. And now I'm taking that knowledge and I'm doing the same thing with the stock market. And I'm saying, well, let me crunch these numbers, because it's not that hard with fintech. Special shout out to Fintech 101. It's not that hard with financial technology to know the basics and let the financial technology do all the hard stuff. So now it is user friendly, and all you have to do is have the accessible cash and then point and click at what you want to point and click at. And you literally have 30 days to figure out what the hell you're going to do, because each one of these stocks pays once a month or once a quarter or once a year. If you miss the last payment, you've got 30 days, 90 days, or 365 days before the next time that payment comes around to figure out how you're going to have money set aside to buy that stock. Your first year is going to be a learning curve. As long as you don't sell lower than what you bought in too many times, you can break even your first year and learn what you're doing, or follow my lead and learn what you're doing. You can have a bad sell on one sell and have a good sell right after that and offset the bad sell and still be up. You might have lost $100 and gained $150 and overall made $50 for the month. But you learn from that month. By the end of the first year, you know what the hell you're doing, so that when you in year 2, you're like, yeah, I'm not making those mistakes. I'm not making those mistakes. You got your bookmark on the date that you want to buy in. You got a 24-hour advance notice so that you can clear your schedule, make sure that you're ready for it. You sitting over here looking at your money, like as soon as it clear, you're about to move it somewhere else. You're dealing with maybe 2-3 stacks of cash, where this stack of cash is dedicated to this line and this stack of cash is dedicated to that line. You might have an Excel spreadsheet full of dates and stock names so that you know which ones you're going to buy on which days out of the week and which stacks of cash you're going to be transferring into which stock option. And all of that leads you into fast tracking your money into a higher status. And instead of taking $10,000 and making $1,500 out of it, you could take $10,000 and make $25,000 out of it. Now, the difference is that your ass ain't going to be broke for long. And that's if you take the principal and just reinvest it. Now, what say you put up 10 stacks and then you keep adding 5 stacks by the end of the year, you done put $40,000, $50,000 into it, and you're able to double whatever you have within 12 months of when you put it in there. By the end of year 2, you at 80 grand. The end of year 3, you at 160 grand. The end of year 4, you at 400 grand. Do you see what I'm talking about? Why do we not have good partners that could take and flip this money and we not be broke inside of like 5-6 years? We be millionaires, quarter millionaires, making $500,000 profits off of $500,000 worth of stocks. And all we got to do is just remind each other, hey, babe, did you buy such and such stock? Hey, babe, did you sell such and such stock? Get your ass over there, go make that trade so that we can put this money in our fucking pocket. Do you see what I'm saying? This is what we don't do. Instead, we making it rain to impress the strippers who's shaking their behind for money because they don't want to flip burgers at McDonald's. We're renting the girl because we asked this fine chick out on a date. We spending all this money to impress her, but we don't even know what her fucking last name is. All of the mistakes we make in life when we could be sitting over here making ourselves fucking money. And you can still get you a Filipino woman for $500 a month, where you can get an American woman for $250 a night for a dinner at the Olive Garden or some shit. And that's if you're not getting her off a back page, because if you're getting her off a back page, the $250 might last you for an hour. I don't know. The only difference is you might have a happy ending about it. Steven said, yeah, I still do, but not a lot. I used to collect Pokemon cards and trade them and sell them. That's how I got into stocks. Oh, yeah. If you got foilies, they got some outdated games like Raw Deal that cards are expensive, $500, $1,000. Those collectible trading cards make money. I covered a show about VIN cards and collectible trading cards, vendor cards. That's what they're called. And I did a whole show about that as well. I also did a show. I covered vending machines, because you can make a shit ton of money walking around with a duffel bag full of cash, or double bag full of coins, really, changing out vending machines. And vending machines put out a decent quantity of money. You just got to find a location that doesn't have a vending machine, contract it out, break them off on some of the profits off of the vending machine, and all you got to do is just drive around town and collect coins like the laundromat guy. I cover a lot of stuff. That's why I tell people, like, hey, if y'all want to learn something, y'all need to bring your ass over here, because this where the money be at a lot of the time. Special shout out to y'all that y'all flooding it in from Twitter right now. But look, let's talk about the economic improvement that we were told to expect during this 90-day grace period just isn't materializing. And that's because despite all the celebratory sound bites, this new deal is still quite quietly costing you a household fortune. This is the reality hiding behind the political handshake. And today, right after I cover a couple of these, today, we're going to look past the photo ops, get into the fine print, and explain why your wallet is still paying the price for a trade war that is far from over. He said, living from okay, I'm gonna let that one ride. This heckler came back like 3 times already. He said, bro, look like he's live streaming from a haunted library dressed like a professor who moonlights as a gamer pick a lane. No, I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. So, you know, my lane is doing what I got to do to put money in my pocket. And when I was winning tournaments, I was making money. So it don't matter what I do. You know, I was the coolest nerd in school because, you know, I was over there walking around with a few $1,000s in my back pocket because them dice from that Monopoly game wasn't dealing with pink and green money. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? We was making money. I didn't need an allowance. My mom and them ain't give me shit. I bought everything I had when I was growing up. I bought my mama her first car. I bought my daddy his first car. I bought my sister her first car. I bought my girlfriend's mama a house. I bought my mama a house, and I had a full-time job. By the time I was 18, I had 2 houses and 18 cars under my name, man. I was doing it back in the day, wasting a shit ton of money. And I regret every decision that I made. But the fact is that I knew how to make that damn money. He said, you check. He said, you check that are a lot of people. Yes, sir, I do. You damn right. I be hitting everything under the sun, man. Everything under the sun. I don't let nothing slide. If I catch the comment, if it's appropriate, I let it ride. But I don't let nothing slide. I soundbite on everybody too. So folks like I can't remember his name off the top of my head. All-Star. He was here a couple weeks ago. If he was to dive back in, he'd be like, oh shit, I gotta start coming back more often. Elon need to sponsor me, man. You asked me, did I check? Okay, yeah. So hold on. Let me go back to your question. Because I thought you were saying you check Xander a lot of people. You check it. Did I check Twitter X about a lot of people? I've got a counter at the top of my screen that tells me that there are more people watching me from Twitter right now than YouTube, but there are a lot of people watching me from Twitch as well. So I can tell that all three of the platforms that are running, but Twitter is getting a lot of buzz right now. And I don't understand. I think because I'm talking about the tariffs, because that's usually when it goes viral, somebody's like, oh shit, because I'm about to give you the scoop and the skinny on this bad boy. But one of the things that happens with these algorithms is that the more comments that occurs, it triggers the algorithm a lot. And today is one of those days where there's a lot of people on the show talking. So there's a lot of push from the he said Twitter's number one, y'all. Twitter X is number one today. But the algorithm starts going into overdrive because the algorithm usually puts me in a dark room somewhere because I'll be talking about sensitive topics. But since I'm talking about the economy and Twitter is about economic development, they're going to get a bigger push than YouTube. That's just how it happens. YouTube is about chaos, but it's about middle-aged chaos. Twitch is about games. So, I'm trying to hit a lot of different age groups, and I really don't want to deal with Twitter because Twitter, I would do Twitter if it was owned by America, but Twitter right now is the algorithm, as soon as I say too many political terms, is going to turn off my live. Like, it'll still be there, but it'll be on dark mode where like nobody sees my live. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to fuck with that, because I'd have been invested so much effort into going live, and then nobody's gonna get to see it. Then when I post up the replay, everybody's coming to the damn show. They would have been on the show live. So I'm like, know what? Sit on Twitter real quick. Okay, so he said I got dressed like he's about to debate crypto at a chess club, then drop a mixtape on Twitch during halftime. Okay, I'll take that. Special shout out to Unlikable Reaper. Now, on the surface, the news sounds great about these tariffs, and after a lot of economic pain, Washington and Beijing called for a temporary truce. So for 90-day period, they started it on May 12th. So it was 2 months ago. May 12th is when they started it. The U.S. agreed to lower the tariffs on many Chinese imports, and the rate, which had gotten as high as a staggering 145% on some goods, were brought down to 30%. And this 30% is the combination of the 10% base tariff plus the 20% new tariff aimed at fentanyl-related products. In return, China dropped its retaliatory tariffs on America down to 10%. He said, yeah, I use Twitter because there's no ads, unlike YouTube, every second ad. Oh, yeah, YouTube do a lot of ads. And if you come to my channel is ad heavy because that's the only way I get paid. To prevent from pressuring you to pay for my platform, you don't have to pay for my platform. You just got to watch ads unless you're a YouTube premium member. Now, Twitter is different. Twitter, I pay for the platform to stream. So since I paid for the platform to stream, you don't got to deal with the ads because I paid for it. I paid to be up there. And that's another reason why people who like the show could throw some money towards the channel, because that saves me a little bit because I'm buying the channel. I'm buying the slot in order to air the show. So it costs me money to make you money. But it's a tax write-off. That's why I do it. Don't think that I'm going to waste money and then tell you, oh yeah, you can stop wasting money and start making money. And then I'm here, I am wasting money. Nah, fuck that shit. It's a tax write-off. That's why I do it. Now, for any American business that imports from China, this was a chance to finally breathe. So the crushing weight of those high tariffs, which made many businesses and their business models impossible, that was lifted. The immediate danger was gone. And you think that this cost saving would be passed right through to you, sparking a bit of economic recovery. That's what you would have thought. Nah, the story should end there with everybody winning. But if tariffs got slashed, why aren't we really feeling it? Why are economists still worried about everything from interest rates to housing markets? And maybe the big question If companies are paying less at the border, why isn't the U.S. economy showing any real improvement? Well, the answer isn't the percentages that were cut, but in the ones that were left. So here's the first thing to get your head around it. A 30% tariff is not a low tariff. Right now it's 30%. It's 30%. Okay, it's 30% from the US to China and 10% from China to the US. So if China's trying to send something to the US, China's going to pay 30%. That 30% is going to be offset onto Americans. If America's sending something to China, China's going to charge 10%. So Chinese people are going to, or Asia is going to experience a 10% increase because it's going to be offset onto their customers. But it's way lower because it originally was 145% from America to China. If China wanted to send something, they had to pay 145%. And it was 125% for Americans to pay to send something to China, which is why everything started costing a lot. So they dropped some stuff, not everything. Some stuff got dropped. And the stuff that got dropped, that's where they talked about, oh, yeah, we dropped the tariffs by 30%. But it wasn't on everything. It was on some stuff. And some stuff, which is more prioritized than other stuff, is the stuff that still got the high interest rates on it. So then we sitting over here pissed off. So before the whole trade war kicked off years ago, the average U.S. trade for Chinese goods was 3%. Now it's 30%. So what we're doing now is celebrating a move from catastrophically high to one that is still 10 times higher than the historical norm. So economic analysis consistently shows that a prolonged trade war at these levels cost an average American household up to $2,800 a year in lost purchase power. Hold on, he said Xander out here looking like he just closed a business deal at Hogwarts, then rushed home to rage on Call of Duty. That headset says gamer, but that outfit says church deacon who says NFTs on the side. Yeah. Oh, I've been thinking about getting me a different headset for this, but I haven't rationalized because this cost me $25, and I haven't rationalized buying another one because the mic still works, the headphones still work, and as long as it can fit on my head, I don't really need nothing else. You use it until you can't use it no more, and then you go get something else. I do need to have a backup plan so if these fall apart, that I still got something that I can run the show with. But odds are, if I got to wing it on a last ditch effort, I'll probably expedite something over here so that by the time these are on their last leg and fall off, that I got something else that I'm going to get done. But I like these because they got like the earmuff feel to them. But I've been looking at some that are like Bluetooth kind of seminar style where nothing covers the ear. Like it just like kind of wraps around the back of the head and it's just a mic there. And I think it's the same price as these, but I bought these probably 4-5 months ago, and I'm like, nah, I want to get my money out of these bad boys before I buy something else. I told you, you got to ask yourself exactly how much will you benefit from it before you buy it, because if you're not getting your dollar for dollar, day for day out of it, there's a waste of money. So I'm like, these fuckers still work. I run with it until I can't run with it no more. And there have been occasions where the headset, he said Reaper a troll. Damn right. Most people on YouTube be trolling because they can't troll on TikTok. and they don't want to troll on Flip. So they come and troll on YouTube. YouTube is for the middle-aged trollers, the ones that ain't got nothing better to do with their life because they can't pick up chicks. So they come and they troll the platform. They could pick up chicks if they could afford it, but they can't afford it because they're trying to be responsible about their money and pull themselves out of debt. I'm the only interactive I'm not the only interactive podcast, but I feel like I'm the only interactive podcast that they can find on their live stream right now. So if they comment, I will respond to it if I see it. and that convinces them to come to the platform and get some attention, because people need attention, hopefully positive attention, but some people will accept negative attention for a good laugh, a little snicker, as opposed to positive attention, because we over here talking about tariffs, stock markets, investment portfolios, and Unlikable could literally be in this conversation providing insight and knowledge, and instead they're getting negative attention. It is what it is. I'm not, as long as the comments are reasonably appropriate, I'm not going to stop him. Not going to stop him. Because he can learn something while he's here. Now, that cost that I was just telling you guys about doesn't just show up at the checkout counter. It ripples through the entire economy, acting as a brake on any potential improvement. So the stock market, for instance, hates the uncertainty of trade wars. So studies have shown that unexpected tariff announcements can cause the stock market to drop by as much as 2%. And that's why I'm talking to you guys about it right now, because July is tomorrow, and the tariffs that are temporary ends on August 12th. So you got about 45 days left before the stock market gets negatively impacted again, unless, of course, it's announced that it's going to be extended. And that 2% shift happens in a single day, wiping out retirement savings. And this lingering 30% tariff ensures that volatility remains the new norm for investors, which allows the rest of us that are taking the top 10 for 20% of our income that's not going towards our standard of living and investing it into the stock market. It gives us more time to play in the stock market before the rich people come back and blow that bitch up. That's what it is. So we talking about like, hey, heads up. You got 45 days left to make as many trades as you can, make as much money as you can. And if they extend this shit, it's going to ride till December. And I did say a couple months ago that odds are we were going to have negative tariff experiences until the end of this year, if not the middle of next year. And those of us that there we go. And that's the one that gets you blocked. And yeah, what I was saying was once you get used to the tariffs and you're doing the trades based on tariff fluctuations, you buy, hold, because you don't got to buy right away. A lot of the stocks that we buy, we'll buy this week, and there's like a 5-day delay between we buying next week, and then there's like an 8-day or 10-day delay before we buy the next week. He said, what happened now? Oh, he said something he wasn't supposed to, and I got rid of him. he trolled too deep. Troll started getting bold, and then I was like, well, can't do that. Now, there's a direct connection to why the broader economy can't gain traction as it relates to the changes. Interest rates. These tariffs increase the cost of import goods, which adds fuel to the fire of inflation. To combat that inflation, the Federal Reserve has to keep interest rates high, and that means the cost of your car loan, your credit card debt, and especially your mortgage are all directly impacted by a trade policy that prevents the economy from recovering. You end up paying more to borrow money because of these lingering tariffs. He said, no, not my troll. Yeah, hey, he could have kept it light and we would have been all right all night. But notice how that troll came back with 3 different accounts in less than 15 minutes. This is the reason why I don't waste my time banning trolls, because typically when they plan on messing with somebody, they preemptively create multiple accounts. And then the next day they go in there and they just start hitting that account back to back with negative comments. And that's one of the reasons why, instead of me wasting my time like trying to force negative people out, I just ban all the negative things that they would say off the comment section, where they can't type the stupid stuff that would normally require me to ban them. And then they get frustrated because they can't send a message, because every message they send doesn't get posted because it's held, because it's a high risk comment, which allows me to continue my podcast with no issues. So what does these high interest rates actually mean when you go shopping? So let's start with food and fuel. While you don't buy a lot of food directly from China, their retaliatory tariffs and American farm goods disrupt our supply chain, creating price instability at the home. More directly, tariffs on everything from packaging materials to processing equipment add small costs to all the line along the line, which eventually land on your grocery bill. So even fuel isn't safe. Shit, with the war, fuel is definitely not safe. Tariff on foreign steel make it more expensive to maintain refineries and pipelines, and a cost that oil companies eventually pass on to you at the gas pump. The extra fuel that they're using to send all them damn B-2 bombers over there to Iran, that's a direct flight from damn Arizona, Arkansas, Texas, Nevada, whatever. Direct flight to Iran. That's a few hundred gallons of gas or more per plane. And then you think about, at $5 a gallon, how we're going to end up paying $7 a gallon because of all that fuel that they sending overseas to go and blow somebody up because they can't talk this out. He said, yeah, didn't that world stop or something? Yes and no. So there is a ceasefire where they're not supposed to be bombing each other, but not 24 hours after the ceasefire happened, Israel went out there and dropped their entire payload on Iran. So they still throwing ballistic missiles at one another, but they're aiming at mountains and military bases and stuff like that. So they're not actually like destroying schools and hospitals and residential areas, which is what a true war would be doing. They're attacking military bases and I got a duck face when I froze. They're tackling military bases and other such like nuclear facilities because Iran is trying to do something nuclear and Israel is trying to stop them. Which is fine with me, but I come to understand you can go to Iran with the U.S. passport right now, but it's highly recommended that you don't, because they can arbitrarily detain you in the act of war because America is bombing Iran. You cannot go to Israel while you're allowed to go to Israel. You cannot go to Israel because there's a stage 4 restriction on Israel due to the high volatile scenario with terrorism and random bombings. Like if you end up in Israel, they'll blow your ass up. So the U.S. Customs is advising people to not fly to either Iran or Israel for any reason, unless you otherwise have to, till things settle down. He's back, Thug 2. He said, Xander looks like he's an AI. He asked an AI to design an outfit called unemployment. Wow. All right, banned again. I love unemployment because at the end of the day, I get paid to stay at home. The closing the borders on July 1st, or is that fake? That's a good question. Because I was looking at the tariffs today and I was not looking into them closing the borders for any reason. Let's look into who's closing borders. The U.S. You know, we got to take a look at that. So the United States is not closing its borders on July 1st. There's no official announcement or executive order or government statement indicating total closure of the U.S. borders on July 4th. Claims circulating on social media about a complete border shutdown are false and have been debunked by fact checkers. So normal border operations continue. And while U.S. has implemented strict immigration enforcement and new travel bans affecting specific countries. These measures do not amount to a full closure of the border. Recent policy changes include travel bans and partial restrictions for nationals from certain countries like Afghanistan, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, and other countries over there in the Middle East. But these are targeted and do not apply to all travelers or U.S. citizens. Border security has been intensified and illegal crossings have dropped sharply, but legal travel, trade, and momentum of U.S. citizens are not halted in any way. So that hopefully answers your question about the travel bans. Yeah, that's what I seen. It might be fake. I don't know. Yeah, it's fake. It's definitely fake. You heard it here second, because I don't always do breaking news. I do news when it's convenient for the podcast to talk about how we're gonna make money off that shit. But as you can see, you asked me a question, and if I can get you an answer, I get you an answer damn sure fast throughout this live podcast. And if I can't get you an answer through the podcast, I make a show about it tomorrow and bring you the answer. On this and that, we talk about this, that, and everything in between. So I make it a point to come with only facts. And that's one of the hardest things about this channel, is that since I'm coming with facts, not a lot of people like the truth. So I don't get as much traffic as I would get if I was all laughs and sunshines, or if I was one of those people that bitched about stuff with no solutions. I'm finding solutions. I don't bring you a problem if I don't bring you a solution. If I'm going to talk about there's a problem, I'm also going to talk about what we're going to do to fix it. So make sure that y'all like and subscribe as y'all fall through here. Follow me if you're on Twitter. A few hundred of y'all, few thousand of y'all on Twitter right now. Each and every one of y'all should be hitting that follow button on the platform before the platform go off the air today, so that y'all can see me tomorrow when I give you all these stock options and trade dates. Now let's talk about these big ticket items. The impact is even more severe on these big ticket items. The 25% tariff on imported Chinese auto parts remains a huge issue. They did not reduce that. He said, oh, the Twitter hot right now. Damn right, Twitter hot right now. I just spent the last hour talking about money. Motherfuckers is like, oh shit. Look, when Donald Trump go off the air, I get a whole bunch of damn traffic. I don't know what it is with him, but he just know that I am going live, and he start talking shit, and then everybody watching him. So when he go take a damn nap, then I go viral. Now, the cost to repair your current car stays artificially high because the tariffs are not going down at all for automotives. And if key sectors like steel and aluminum were left out of the deal, the consequences are enormous. And like I told you, they be spending so much time trying to come in here. Dude coming in with like 80 different. I got a troll putting in hard work, bro. He didn't jump in with like 5 different accounts since I banned him. Now, check this out. Past tariffs on these materials have been shown to add over $17,000 to the cost of building a new home. And this inflates real estate prices for everyone. And when combined with the high interest rates caused by tariffs-driven inflation, it creates a crushing double whammy for potential home buyers, which is the reason why the real estate market is still a seller's market, because everybody who's looking for a home is struggling to get what you offering. And there's no room for negotiation, because if they can't get the loan because the house is too high in comparison to their debt to income ratio, they can't buy the house even though they can pay the monthly payments. Which, funny thing on a side note, mortgage companies are the first people to give you the clue as to where your money is supposed to be. They're not going to give you a $250,000 or $500,000 loan to cover a house unless you're living off of less than 45% of your household income. even though the mortgage is going to be included in that 45%, you must have less than 45% of your household income as expenses. And then if you have another 57% of discretionary capital outside of your household standard of living, they'll give you the loan. Now, I was telling y'all about living on 30% of your standard of living, which allows you to have 70% to invest. But that's hard to get to. If you was once at 95 or 100% of your income living from check to check, and now you're taking about 10 or 20% of your income and you're investing in the stocks, now you're starting to see how money is making money for you. And it is attractive to invest money on a Monday, qualify for a dividend on a Tuesday, buy another stock on a Friday, get paid for last week's stock the following Tuesday, and then buy into another stock with the dividends from the last stock. And you're on your fifth or sixth stock and you're starting to see dividends paid out from last week's trades, new trades, analyzing the next trade, and you keep watching your money grow. Where had you sat it in a bank, you'd have been getting 0.064 cents on a dollar, which is less than 1 cent per $2, which is crazy because you basically would make like $1 off of $200 in the bank for a year, where you watch this channel for an hour and I just told you 4 ways that we made $500 this weekend. Just by buying on Friday and selling on Monday. And matter of fact, for the rest of y'all who wasn't here yesterday, on Sunday's Members Only Live, Steven got the tip yesterday and bought it before I told y'all about it today. So had y'all been here yesterday, y'all would have been able to buy that stock this morning so that you would be getting the dividends for tomorrow for the other stock. So I just want y'all to know we here live 7 nights a week, and we're going to definitely give you information while we talk about relationships and personal improvement and other stuff on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Let me come across some money making opportunities, and I'm going to jump on this bad boy. And I'm going to say on the side note, buy this stock before this date and then sell it, because you're only going to get it once, and you're going to get it once and you're not going to see it again for the next quarter. Some semi-annual stocks, you're going to get it once and you're not going to see it for 6 more months. The monthly stocks, that's one thing that I didn't tell you, Stephen. The monthly stocks are where you park your money. So say you're doing a dividend rotation strategy with $2,000. Say you get $1,000 worth of profit. You take the $1,000 worth of profit and you park those in the lowest valued monthly dividend stocks, because it's going to pay you every month. And it's going to be lower. So like Orchid Island is at like $7.04 right now, giving 12 cents a share. A lot of the stocks that I'm talking to you about are more than that, where the stock is like $30, $40, giving you 30 cents or 35 cents a share, which is 10% of the value of the stock, right? And if Orchid Island is doing that, yeah, I'm going to keep banning you, bro, because you was inappropriate and I gave you the opportunity to stop and you didn't. Now, the ones that are 10% of the value of the stock, they're good for a one-time hit. But ones like Orchid Island and AGNC, and I think there's another one, I think it's Arbor Realty is the other one that's like monthly stocks, where you're buying in AGNC is like $9.84 a share. Orchid Island is like $7.04 a share. And Arbor Realty, I think, is like $14 or $16 a share. And they're doing 12 cents a share every month. When you park your money in the cheapest monthly cash dividend stock, as that stock increases and starts reaching $10, $20, you can start putting your money into the other one. And then when they both start reaching $25, $30, you start putting it into the third one, you park it, you leave it, because it's going to give you money every month. You don't have to do nothing else with it. The dividend rotation strategy is for the quarterly stocks. Stocks that are going, well, if it's going to pay out every month, you don't need to buy it, sell it, and then buy it again. You just put it there, leave it there, and let it pay you every month. But the quarterly stocks, you take the rest of your money and move that around for the quarterly stocks, because you're going to buy that one this month and you're not going to buy it again for another 2 months. You're going to buy something else for next month. You're going to buy something else for the other month. And then you're going to buy this one again on the third month. That's how that works. And then your annuals, it doesn't matter what the buy-in rate is. If it's got a massive payout, you're going to buy into it one time a year, get that massive payout, sell it, and then move on. But when it comes to the tariffs, you're going to be facing higher sticker prices on your cars and your houses and more expensive loans to pay for it all. Now, the relief from this new deal is so targeted that it may have missed the very thing that could provide the biggest savings for families and stimulate the economy. But if you're finding this breakdown helpful and you want to understand the real economic stories behind the headlines, take a second, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We cut through all the noise to tell you what you actually need to know and how this actually affects your wallet. Now, back to the problem at hand, because it gets even more complicated. Perhaps the biggest reason we're not seeing the economic upswing is this deal is temporary. This isn't a permanent policy change. It's a 90-day truce that is set to expire August 10th. If no new permanent agreement is reached by then, the tariffs are set to revert to a default rate of 34%, which is far less than the 145%. But it's not nearly as good as the 3%. Imagine trying to run a business or manage your investments in this environment. You have no clue what your cost or market conditions will be in 3 months. And for us talking about it today, in 45 days, this uncertainty is poison for the economy. It as long-term business investors, which is what truly drives recovery through hiring and wage growth. So no company is going to launch a major expansion based on the 90-day window, which is the third 90-day window of some expansion shit that they've done since January, because they were supposed to kick TikTok, then they didn't. Everybody who runs a business off of TikTok had to figure out what they were going to do. They brought back TikTok, threatened to turn it off in June. Then they extended, they hit the tariff, dropped the tariff, they hit the tariff again, and then they extended it. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows how much stuff is going to cost. In response, businesses are doing the only thing they can, rushing to import as much as possible, fast as possible, during the time that everything is down. This is kicking off a frantic import surge as companies try to cram a year's worth of orders into a tight window. And that sudden rush is expected to cause port backups and shipping problems, which ironically could create a whole new set of price increases. You're also going to experience, I told you guys, buy your shit off of Temu and enjoy that $5 credit when the shit comes late because it spends a week in customs. I did it. I got what, $75 back off of them because I bought that many items that I needed, and each item gave me a $5 credit because it was late. And I enjoyed getting it 3 weeks late when they guaranteed me to get it within 2 weeks and getting $75 back, which damn near the whole order was free because of the credit, which allowed me to take that money and go buy something else that was no cost to me because of the credit reimbursement. So for you, this creates a ticking clock. If a new deal isn't reached by August deadline, or at least an extension on the current deal, we could be looking at another sharp price spike and another shock to the stock. Now, remember the last time the market got shocked, April, towards the end of April, beginning of May, and the stock market took a 700% hit. We would see something similar to that in the stock market right as we head into the fall, right around school time. Now, you notice that the stock market takes a small dip the first 2 weeks before school, because everybody who buys their kids school supplies and pay for their child's education with their stock option sells their stock option a couple weeks before school starts, use that money towards school, and then take all the remaining money they didn't spend on school and put it back into their stock option. So you see in August, the stock drops. You also know that people like to barbecue, party, and go on trips and vacations for the 4th of July. So if you were paying attention, you should have seen certain stocks drop this week for the 4th of July on Friday, which means we got a 4-day weekend. 4.5-day weekend because they're closing early on the 3rd. Now, the other thing is that along with the spike, you're looking at those individuals that have real world life changes. So when you're paying attention to the transitions of markets in the sector rotation strategy, which is the same as the dividend rotation strategy, except you're investing in growth stocks in different industries that are consumer based or R&D development. I've looked into all of this stuff so that I can talk to y'all about it. And then I'm like, yo. So now I know if I want to switch over to a growth stock, what to get. For example, Bayside tipped me off with buying Netflix. Netflix gained $500 worth of value on its stock. It doesn't pay dividends, but if you bought it when it was valued at $1,000 and now it's valued at $1,500, you just gain a shit ton of money. The truce that they just had in May didn't solve the problem. It just kicked the can down the road for about 90 days. So what can you do when faced with all of this? Well, you can't go negotiate a new trade deal yourself. You can take steps to protect your finances the way a lot of the rich people are doing, which is buying gold, silver, precious metals, platinum, uranium, and other such. I don't know about the uranium. I'll buy uranium ETFs, but I wouldn't buy actual uranium, specifically because certain items like uranium is directly related to like explosive style stuff, which directly leads to being put on a terrorist watch list. So I wouldn't buy a precious metal or precious mineral such as uranium. But the other stuff is good. The other stuff is good. First, know what you're looking at. So when you see persistent inflation like we've been seeing here in 2025, the stock market volatility and high interest rates preventing an economic recovery, you'll understand it's not just random. It's often a direct result of these policies. Second, plan for continued instability. The period after August 10th is a great question mark. That means building a cushion into your household budget is critical. If you're considering a major purchase that requires a loan like a car or a home, be aware that interest rates may remain high as long as this uncertainty continues, which is one of the reasons why people get those life insurance policies that are cash driven life insurance policies, and then they borrow against the life insurance policy and pay a flat rate to the policy, which ultimately turns into a tax deduction. The reason why they do that is because that is a guaranteed loan. They're not going to get denied because it's backed by their money and the payments are fixed. If they don't pay off the loan, they lose the insurance policy and all the money that's been invested into it. Not a lot of people think about that. They'll first go to the casino and try to hit it big instead of, going somewhere else and investing in something else. But if you're investing, you got to be prepared for more than the volatility. Finally, you got to remember that the real story is often what they don't talk about. So if you overheard a conversation from politics about some stuff, that's what they wanted you to know. Is what they say behind closed doors is what you don't know that you need to know. And the key to understanding this deal wasn't the reduction. It wasn't the lingering high rate, the impact on interest rates, and the crippling uncertainty that is preventing any sustained economic improvement. It wasn't about that. Following these details is the best way to know how you own your own budget and will be affected by what's about to happen. So as everybody thought that this was about tariffs and this, that, and the third, I told you guys a few months ago that this is about buying that $1 trillion package called TikTok. They hit with the tariffs in order to pressure the country to give them tariffs. To give them TikTok. They didn't flex, and now they're going to lift the finger up a little bit, let them breathe, and then they're going to choke them back out again until they get that TikTok. That's what's going on. It's a billionaire battle. They want all the money that they're getting from American consumers while not creating another backup profile or platform. So let's break it down. Washington is still going to be celebrating a deal that took tariffs from a catastrophic level down to a very high level, but the fine print explains why the economy isn't getting better. The deal still leaves the average American family with about $2,800 less in their pockets each year, and it continues to stack on the stock market volatility that threatens retirement accounts. So it helps keep interest rates painfully high, making loans for cars and homes expensive as fuck, and it's temporary. 90-day nature creates a ticking clock of economic uncertainty and makes it impossible for businesses or families to plan for the future, effectively freezing the real economic progress. Now, these policies aren't just abstract ideas from Washington. They have direct and often hidden consequences that show up on your grocery bill, your loan statement, and your 401k, because some of your interest rates, like 401ks and Roth IRAs, they charge you taxes when you deposit the money, and others charge you taxes when you take your money out. If you're doing tax deferred, then they'll push your requirement to pay taxes when you take your money out. But I think the other way around, you get hit with it up front, and then you don't have to pay taxes on it after the fact. Now, this isn't just about percentages and trade balances. It's about the real world value of the money you work so hard for. And right now, that money is still buying less. So what are your biggest questions about how this will affect you? Well, are you worried about interest rates, the house marked, or something like that? Let me know in the comments. And haven't you already been subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you don't miss our next innovation into the police and the shape that you want me to have? That would be good. I had to go through all of that to make sure I was looking at that correctly. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Because I could tell you, with the way the tariffs has been going, the reason why we're not seeing a change, most of us didn't even know that the tariffs were lifted, and they did not lift any tariffs for Canada, and Canada did not lift any bids for like the electric bill or anything to that effect. We're not going to see an improvement until governmental politics stop warring. Now, what we'll end up doing is finding another way, or falling off because we're not putting in the effort to find another way. I'm the person that said before Donald Trump got picked up, we need to figure out a way to make money for us so that we ain't got to stop work. We don't got to keep working, because either we're getting too old and our injuries are catching up with us, or we're getting too old and the other person on the team is not willing to cooperate. We want somebody that's willing to cooperate. And that's what we look for on a regular basis. Good decision-making skills and cooperation. That's like a big game changer. With that being said, I'm going to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And fellas, with 75% of the podcast from the male's perspective, male-driven podcast, that is from the male's perspective, I want to make sure that you guys come back to the show. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to expand your finances to become a higher value man. So I want you to be here tomorrow. We typically start around 10:35, 10:40 Central Standard Time. So if you show up around about that time, you'd be right in time to go live with me. Make sure that you guys bring a pen and paper. And one more thing before I let you go is that everything is pre-recorded on the show today, including the comment section. So if in the event that you respond to the shoe so that you can, get the information from me, by all means, dive all in, because I'm going to give you all the information that you need to make yourselves financially successful. So you can always tiptoe over to the YouTube site, follow me, or subscribe to the channel on the YouTube site to get the push notification, and then go back and watch me from Twitter. I don't mind. But Twitter's got a massive influx today, and I'm very proud of it. It's too bad that I run out of information. And since we're not as interactive at this time, because we're like an hour and a half into the show, everybody's tired and ready for bed. So, I don't blame them, but I let them know, if you would have said something, I would have swerved or something, but nothing was said. Be that as it may, remember that we're live 7 nights a week, and we don't let the sun rise without going live. So I want to thank you guys for coming to this and that. I take positive comments that come into the channel and put them up onto the screen. So it's going to be what it is. Now, thank you guys again. I want to appreciate you. Special shout out to those of you that's watching us from Twitch. Special shout out for Steven. I really appreciate you for hanging out on the show and learning some information from us. Special shout out to the ladies that watch us and starting to learn how to do things. Fellas, just note that these women are not going to be compromised. They will, as independent alpha boss ladies, make themselves reasonable level of financial success that they're proud with. So the only thing that I can tell you to do is, instead of laying in the bed, just dripping all over the place, you need to go ahead and get up off your behind and apply yourself to your own success, because your situation doesn't get better until you change your situation, or you change the elements in your situation to make your situation better. So that's what we're going to be working on this week. One more time, I want to thank you guys again, and I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. I'm not landing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. Network.